friends, welcome to the Point. In this session, we are discussing about ozone layer depletion. The atmosphere is divided into 4 layers: troposphere, stratosphere, ionosphere and exosphere. In the second layer of the atmosphere, that is stratosphere, from 20 km to 50 km height from the Earth's surface, the ozone layer is present. The density of ozone layer is very low and it plays an important role in our life in the following ways. Due to the presence of ozone layer, ultraviolet rays and infrared rays from the sun cannot reach the earth directly. Ozone layer absorbs the harmful part of sunlight and protects the life on the earth from harmful effects of these rays. For example, ozone layer is depleting at the south pole. This is because due to the human interference with the natural environment. Presence of ozone hole, it was first discovered by Dr. J. Foreman in the year 1982, a scientist of British Antarctica Survey. So what is the cause for depletion of the ozone layer? Ozone layer, it absorbs UV radiation from the sun, and this leads to heating of the stratosphere. This causes temperature inversion, which does not allow vertical mixing of pollutants from the troposphere and stratosphere. In this phenomena, some pollutants find their way into the stratosphere and some remain there for many years. During this process, they react with the ozone molecules and get converted to other products. Major pollutants that is responsible for the depletion of ozone layer are CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, nitrogen oxides from the fertilizers and hydrocarbons. Chlorofluorocarbons, they are used in coolants, in air conditioners and refrigerators, cleaning solvents, etc. Location of the ozone hole. Temperature at the south pole, it is lower when compared to the north pole. During winter season, temperature at the south pole, it comes down to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Hydrogen chloride gas, in the presence of ice crystals, they break into chlorine molecule and then it gets dissociates into chlorine atom, which reacts with the ozone. Extreme cold at the south pole, it helps in forming ice crystals to facilitate the reaction. Effects of ozone depletion. Depletion of the ozone layer results in increase in ultraviolet radiation reaching the Earth's surface, which has both direct and indirect harmful effects. Let's discuss some of the direct effects faced due to ozone depletion. Ozone absorbs heat from the sun and it results in increase of temperature in the stratosphere. The reduction of the ozone will lead to rise in temperature changes and rainfall failures on the earth. 1% reduction in the ozone, it increases ultraviolet radiation on the earth by 2%. Harmful effects that are caused by an increase in UV radiations are reduction in immunity. Ultraviolet rays reduces the immunity power and increases susceptibility towards different types of harmful diseases. Cancer and cataracts. Due to the depletion of ozone layer, the ultraviolet rays of the sun, it reaches the earth through ozone hole directly without any obstacle. And these rays, it can cause skin cancer, cataract on the eyes of the human beings. It has been reported earlier that the number of skin cancer patients are increasing throughout the world. Genetic disorder. The ultraviolet rays, it gives rise to the genetic disorders which ultimately affect heredity. Now let's see some indirect effects. Most of the vegetables are very sensitive to UV rays. Under greenhouse effect, plants are exposed to UV radiation showed nearly to 20 to 50% reduction in the growth, reduction in chlorophyll content and increase in harmful mutations. Increased concentration of ultraviolet rays, it disturbs the ecological balance in the marine ecosystem. Green algae, fish and other animals on the continental shelves, they get affected by UV rays. Ultraviolet rays can damage the physical and chemical properties of any complex chemical substance. Plastics become brittle when they come in contact with UV rays. As most of the industries use plastic material in one form or the other, they would be affected more. Some effects to check ozone depletion. The main factors of ozone depletion are CFCs, and ozone layer can be protected in two ways. International programs to reduce CFCs production, alternative technologies to replace CFC use. International programs. Vienna Conference. The first global conference on the depletion of ozone layer, it was held in Vienna, Austria in 1985, when the scientists discovered a hole in South Pole. Montreal Protocol. Internationally success on ozone layer protection, it was achieved in 1987 through this Montreal Protocol Convention. Developed countries decided to reduce CFC production step by step. Some relaxations were granted to developing countries like India and China. It was also agreed that extra cost in using alternative chemicals to CFCs would be borne by the developed countries. Saving the Ozone Layer Conference. The 3-day international meet, it was organized jointly by London in March 1989 by British government and the United Nations Environment Programme. It highlighted the global problem created by the developed world, and it is trying to dictate its term to the developing countries for CFC pollution. Helsinki Conference. In May 1989, International Conference on Ozone was held at Helsinki. It was to revise the Montreal Protocol. As many as 80 countries agreed to have a total ban by 2000 on chemicals that cause ozone depletion. The agreement for CFC elimination, it is a major step towards environmental protection. There are many alternate technologies to check the effects of ozone layer depletion. In June 1989, two Japanese companies jointly developed alternative to CFCs, and this device, it is called as ice cleaning. It is a semiconductor washing device that uses fine particles of ice and frozen alcohol at temperatures below -50 degrees Celsius to blow dust of semiconductors without harming them, and the results were comparable to CFCs. CFCs are generally used as computer cleaning agents. Under this new technology, CFC can be recycled and about 70% of CFC11 can be reused. CFCs, they are generally used for spraying of pesticides, but now spray of pesticides at high pressure has been recommended. Phase out schedule for HCFCs. The basic phase out schedule for HCFCs in the developed countries is as follows: 65% reduction in 2010, 90% reduction in 2015 and 99.5% reduction in 2020, and 100% phase out in 2030. The final 0.5% is available only to service existing refrigeration and air conditioning equipment. Developing countries had already freezed HCFC consumption at 2015 levels in 2016, and they have planned to phase it out completely by 2040. That's all for the session. Thank you.